Hola, ¿qué tal? Well, we are switched to English. This is a panel full of Brazilians. It's awkward for us to speak English. Our colleagues are here speak Portuguese daily. Maybe it's a warm-up for the match tonight. And now you are trying to score here. I'm going to pass the ball to my colleagues here. My name is Diego Perez. I'm the president of AB FinTech, the FinTech Association of Brazil. And also, I'm part of the FIA, FinTech IberoAmérica, which is an alliance of FinTech associations from LATAM, Portugal and Spain. And we are here to talk about the DREX, the platform that has been developed by the Brazilian Central Bank to promote or to put in place an environment for the tokenization of assets in Brazil. I have here Fabio Araujo from the Brazilian Central Bank. I have Larissa Moreira from Itaú, also Marcos Viriato from Parfin, and Felipe from Taurus. Welcome to the panel here. I'm going to ask some questions here that I have initially prepared for my friends here. And starting with you, Fabio, what is actually DREX for those here in the audience to bring them up to speed? And what are the reasons related to the origins of the DREX and what we have reached so far? What can we speak about before we enter the main topic here?
Great. Thanks, Diego. Thanks, everybody. It's a pleasure to be speaking about DREX here. And I think that I'm going to start from the motivation, because that's always what we do at the central bank. We think about what can be done, and then we try to set up the system that can achieve that. And when we started the discussion back in 2020, 2021, we had peaks already. It was a huge success. Then when you look into a CBDC and look into the work that other banks have conducted before, they were pretty much thinking about retail payments, fast payments, or wholesale payments, the RTGS, the real-time gross settlement system. And another possibility was cross-border. When we looked into this span of possibilities, we figured very early that we didn't need anything for that, because our RTGS is good, our instant payment system is a huge success, and in terms of cross-border, we have lots of other layers to be peeled before you can apply the technology. Then it would be a discussion that would be much more international relations than central banking. Then the first thing that came to as a result was what can we do with that? It's not necessary, but this technology can bring so much more. What can be done with this, with digital assets? And we have a problem of financial inclusion in Brazil. PIX helped a lot. 70 million people use digital transfers for the first time in their lives using PIX. But financial inclusion go much further, needs to go much beyond payment. It needs to go into investment opportunities, cheaper credit lines for the population. And with that, we have lots of problems. We have operational costs. We have the difficulties of interoperating different systems. And this platform gives us all the tools that we need to achieve those goals. We have standardization, replication, composability, and then you can reduce the cost of managing financial contracts and to include more people into the financial sector. That's the final goal, and that's our motivation for trying to put this platform together. And then I come to the first part of your question. DREX is a CBDC, but actually it's much more a platform than a CBDC. Because when we think about how to include people in the financial market in an efficient way using digital assets technology, you cannot but to talk about tokenization. And for the settlement of digital assets, you need digital money. It can be done with private money. That's okay. We understand that, and as a central bank, we know how to run that sort of system. But always when you have the private money, you need to have the central bank money together to make sure that things are stable, and if there is a liquidity problem, you can use hard money from the central bank that is never going to be default on. Then it assures that we can create an entire platform with tokenization, private money, and central bank money to have stability in the system and to reach the broader part of the Brazilian population that today cannot have access to most of the service that could be provided in DREX.
Well, amazing. It's important to highlight that it's not only a CBDC, and it's way more than a CBDC. It's a full whole platform. And it's going to be available initially for wholesale transactions, yeah? Or for the retails customers sometime, maybe in the future.
Yeah, actually what we are doing right now, the CBDC, the central bank money, is working only on the wholesale part of the economy. And the retail, it's going to be provided, the settlement assets going to be provided by the market. In the same way that we do today, the banks have their money for people to operate, and among the banks, they use central bank money, so you can have the stability in the transactions.
Okay. So in order for any user to start a transaction through DREX, he need to be connected to a bank or to a FinTech, then the transaction will happen through DREX, exactly?
Yeah, the platform that we are building is a private permission platform. Then to run a node there, we have to have a strong governance on the participants. We know that DeFi is very interesting, but if we just allow someone to start issuing code, deploying code into the network, people could start using that without any sort of assurance. Then at least for the beginning, while we don't have very well-defined ways of whitelisting and blacklisting, it's best to start the development of the system in a private space.
Okay, perfect. Well, Viriato, my friend, how are you?
Good, good.
So Parfin plays a key role in the ecosystem, especially for infrastructure, okay? And if you could say a few words about Parfin, and how the company is contributing to the development of DREX nowadays.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure to be here. We can't see much of the audience because there's a light here on our face, but yeah, we started a few years ago with the view that the banks and financial institutions would require technology to deal with crypto, stable coins, tokenization. With that in mind, coming from banks, we'd start designing the technology to allow banks to adopt this. We believe that in the next few years, now it's more, when we started 5 years ago, it was forbidden to talk about crypto in banks. Now it's more common. But the view is that the whole financial market, as we know, will be migrated on-chain in the coming years. You know, stocks, bonds, currencies, stable coins, and so on. And that's what we're building. In terms of the DREX, we were one of the, and again, I think DREX is a journey. It's not, you know, it's a journey to build a platform, as Fabio said. Back in 2022, when the central bank started the sandbox, it's called Lift Challenge, one of the banks in Brazil was selected to contribute. It was at the very beginning of the journey, I believe, you know, in terms of real implementation. So we partnered with this bank to help them build the smart contracts, and that was a case for loans and car loans, and on the C2C to do deliverless payment. It was very interesting, and we've learned a lot because surprisingly, there was no specification of technology, blockchain, and surprisingly, we've used Basel, which is the one that the central bank is selected later. But from there, we realized that there would be need for privacy. It's one of the main requirements. So we start building this protocol to allow transactions in blockchain with privacy. And I think later, the central bank selected 3 players, the Starlight, Anonymous Ether, and Rails, the privacy preserving protocol we built. And last year was the year where we've been tested. There are pros and cons of each one of the solutions. There was a very clear report issued by the central bank. And I think the technology, as everything, is evolving. And I think we're getting to a point where probably in the coming months, there will be enough maturity to check all the boxes and say, oh, now I have something to promote the production one day. And again, this is again, if you look, the use of zero knowledge, even on the blockchain space, started a year or so ago, or a year and a half. So it's something relatively new. And as any new technology, it takes time to mature. And I think now, after this kind of almost 3 years, it's getting to the maturity. And so we are super excited. I think, again, and I want to congratulate the central bank, because the Central Bank of Brazil won 3 years in a row the best central bank in the world. And not only for the DREX, etc., but I think the quality of people that work in there, sometimes without much resources, and that's something amazing, because we go abroad, we are recognized by one of the most advanced central banks in the world, and we as Brazilians, we should be proud of it, and again, I think DREX is not, in our view, right, we are contributing, we want to make this successful regardless of the technology that's selected, because, we will be ahead, and that's our kind of goal. We're super excited about that, and I think now there's the second phase with some very interesting cases, and I think there will be a matter of time for the technology to mature, the banks to kind of also embrace this. I think banks in Brazil as well, they've kind of contributed a lot. So it's a combination of efforts. So I think we'll see some results, hopefully, later this year.
Very good, very good. And Larissa, Itaú is one of the major banks in the region, and mostly has invested a lot in blockchain technology. So in these specific cases, including the own digital assets projects, how is the bank exploring DREX? What can you present to the audience, the experience on developing something on top of the DREX nowadays?
Thank you, Diego. Very nice to be here today. I'm representing a huge team of Itaú. Itaú is one of the largest banks in Brazil. We have a business unit at Itaú, almost with 70 people working not only on DREX, but also with blockchain initiatives as our buy and sell solution. We have our proper custody, and also cash and trade treasury operations. And it's very interesting that we not only see all the challenges that Fabio and Viriato said just now, but we are, since 2021, I believe, in the Innovation Lab with Central Bank, seeing that there are lots of challenges to overcome with the DREX initiative, but we are seeing that we are getting there. It's not something that in the short term will overcome, but it's something that we bear in mind that all the challenges, all the options that we are following will be overcome in the near future. So it's something very interesting. And related to DREX, we took part on the first phase where we were alongside other participants, 16 participants, to develop and test one use case. And after that, on the second phase, which is the phase that we are developing right now, we have the opportunity to see that there are lots of use cases with the potential to get the whole project to go to production. So the main challenge right now is to see that which will be the killer app for the use of the infrastructure. So I believe that Viriato said it's a good vision that right now we don't see the DREX pilot as only the CBDC token for Brazilians, but we see that it's an opportunity to develop a good infrastructure, like a settlement layer with, of course, one token to settle, which is the real, all the operations that the use case will be developed using smart contracts and also to could offer to Brazilians the potential and benefits of the blockchain technology. So as Itaú, we see with good eyes and with a positive view the whole initiative, not only the first phase or the second phase, but we believe that in the medium and the long term, we'll achieve what we are seeking right now. It's not something easy to overcome, but we'll eventually get there.
And is there any killer app in your mind that you think it's going to thrive in the sector?
It's something very hard to find out right now, but in the second phase, we are developing alongside Bradesco and Banco do Brasil one use case that we believe it's a good use case to find out the hypothesis of the usage of the technology. We are tokenizing a bank deposit certificate and using as a collateral for credit operations. So it doesn't mean that it has to be a bank deposit certificate, but in the future it could be a debenture or even
treasury bond.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So it's a good use case to find out the benefits of the technology.
Yeah, amazing. It's gonna bring a lot of efficiency for the system.
Yeah.
So Felipe, my friend, how are you?
Fine, and
Feeling
you?
good?
Very good.
Okay, perfect. So Taurus, the company that you represent, has been a key player in the digital asset custody, okay? And especially tokenization for financial institutions. If you could present for the audience what Taurus does, and also how is the company exploring DREX?
Okay, very good. So Taurus is a leading provider of technology for custody and tokenization and for financial service. So Taurus was founded in 2018 with the vision of the founders that they came from the traditional finance. They are working in a bank at that time, that everything will converge to the banking system, and the digital assets, it would be a massive opportunity that they will explore. And they will need solutions that provide governance, that provide scalability, that provide them the ability to explore these opportunities. So they started to build the platform in 2018. Taurus was very focused on the beginning on the Swiss market. Taurus is a Swiss company based in Geneva. And at that time, a lot of things were happening in Switzerland. A lot of things. So the regulation was happening in Switzerland at that time. So Taurus worked very close to the regulators, very close to FINMA, and with the standards of smart contracts and everything. So we are very focused on Switzerland and Europe. After MiCA, and we are very focused in Europe. And why I'm telling that? Because we are not present in Brazil by the time that the central bank started the DREX project. And the DREX project, they selected some companies, some participants on the beginning. They create the consortiums, and they are working only with these companies on the consortium. So, and now with the report of the phase one, they will probably not include, but this doesn't prevent us to help, because we are talking always with Fabio, with Larissa, with Viriato. We are always trying to provide some insights, because every single thing that's being tested on DREX, we already did it in production with a large financial institution. So we are probably the only company in the world that has all the use cases for tokenization with tokenized funds, equity, CBDCs, stable coins. So we have real-life examples in a lot of large financial institutions about how to do it and what's possible to do and what's not. And we are contributing in a lot of areas of innovation. Of course, the DREX picked the Hyperledger Bezel as the platform and for some very reasonable reasons. But last week, 2 weeks ago, we published a paper where we worked with Aztec, which is a layer 2 that's the test net is gonna come in June, July, and the main net will come in September. And we could prove privacy in the public blockchain. So we did all the transaction and everything went smoothly with 100% of privacy. So that's the type of things that Taurus is doing. Taurus is very ahead in terms of technology and always looking for innovation and open to support. Just let me make one point regarding the central bank. This project is insane. It's amazing because it creates an ecosystem in Brazil that probably is ahead of any other ecosystem across the globe. So we are talking with ecosystems in Turkey, in Dubai, in France, in Switzerland, and what the central bank could make with DREX and bringing the consortiums and everybody, the banks putting people from them working at the DREX project is something that's very remarkable and very important to say that these guys here, they couldn't hire people. They didn't receive raises for like several years based on the Brazilian rules. And
budget cuts all the time.
Yes, and they are heroes. No, one day Fabio will deserve some recognition from the broad audience on that.
Thank you. And Fabio, we are running out of time, but I need to ask these questions. And maybe I can extend the same questions to other panelists to enclosure the session. In the context of the international payments, what challenges does the central bank foresee in the adoption of the DREX? And how does this align with global interoperability initiatives such as the BIS and other international CBDC projects?
We are working together with the BIS and the IMF, and there are some challenges that are specific to DREX that are mostly related to the Brazilian economy. But I would like to stress the challenges that apply to all the currencies. In cross-border payments, I see two major problems. One is provision of liquidity, and another one is compliance to travel rules. Once you get these two sorted out, pretty much you have the system fixed. And with digital assets technology, you have tools for dealing with that, with liquidity pools for providing the liquidity. You can bring as much liquidity as possible into those pools to make the price formation as efficient as possible. And on the other hand, you have to sort out the matter of travel rule. You have the verifiable credentials. That's a technology that's in development and it's being used. I think that would make possible that any bank could operate as a correspondent bank. Then the market would just open for international payments in a much simpler way than what we have today.
Perfect. And 30 seconds for each one. The main challenge in your vision for the DREX to thrive, and especially for international transactions?
Yeah, I believe that there is a political alignment between countries. This, for us, is the main challenge right now. But just to give another view regarding cross-border payments, of course, DREX is a huge opportunity to have this infrastructure to settle these cross-border transactions, operations. But we see that stablecoins already found a product market fit for having instant settlements between countries. So in the short term, we believe that stablecoins will really reach mainstream market right now. covering all these aspects. Of course, CBDCs and DREX infrastructure will have a huge impact on the future, having, of course, the security of the currency, but in the short term, we see that stablecoins will have a greater impact for people and clients.
And Viriato, your views?
I think if we overcome the challenges of implementing the 13 cases, that will be enough. I don't think even about using a CBDC now for a cross-border, as Larissa mentioned. The stablecoin are playing their roles, and from a regulatory perspective, you moving a CBDC out of the country's jurisdiction to another country, kind of there will be a lot of discussions about that. There are sovereignty problems. There's a bunch of regulatory-related aspects that needs to be thought. So I wouldn't see a CBDC to be used for cross-border in the short term, maybe in medium term. But the focus, I think, is to overcome these 13 cases, and then we're going to have a real tokenized economy in Brazil, boosting, better credit rates, investing in the real economy. So I think the opportunity is there. I would look initially to overcome this, to achieve this success in the economy.
And Felipe, the last one.
I would just echo Viriato. It's complex, cross-border, across 180 countries with different regulations. We saw when SWIFT started back in the 70s. So it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of things to go on that. But I think that is in the right path. And we can just sit in as an example. SWIFT is moving, no? So if there is nothing happening, SWIFT will stay on their place without doing nothing. Now they are faster. They are not cheaper yet, but they are faster, and a lot of things are happening on this. And I think this Agora project of the BIS will be a very decisive project to support this.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being here. It's a pleasure.